It's Money Matters, an NSCC financial literacy podcast situated in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. And now here's your host, Matt Curry.
Hello and welcome to Money Matters podcast. I'm your host, Matt Curry. Am I a financial expert? Heck no. But I do know a few things, and I know people who know a few more things, and that's what this podcast is about, connecting all those pieces together. Today I've got a special guest on our Money Matters podcast. I'd like to introduce Rebecca Slaunwhite, who is a former NSCC student, and she has agreed to come join me today to talk about all things finance. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Matt. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Can you just tell me a little bit about yourself? I know you went to NSCC.
Awesome. So thank you again. Right now, I'm currently the branch manager of RBC, and I lead a large team of advisors here in Halifax, Nova Scotia at the Halifax Shopping Centre. I have two leaders that report to me directly, and one of these leaders actually leads our newcomer specialist for Atlantic Canada. So if you're not sure what a branch manager does, long story short, I'm essentially responsible for our people here performance. I'm responsible for leading the team, developing business growth, client relationships, community, market engagement, operations, compliance, all that good stuff falls under me. Aside from my regular day-to-day, I did want to mention that I'm co-chair of our employee resource group, which we call the Eagle. So it's for advancing Indigenous economies, communities, and our people, something I'm very passionate about, and that evolves every day through this line of work as well. So back to kind of my education and how this started. So I've been with the bank for 11 years, working my way up through different roles. One of the coolest roles I had a few years ago, I opened up the Dalhousie on campus location, and that's where I really was able to take my student experience and share it with other students. So we opened up a location right in Dalhousie campus, and it was just about building relationships, helping students with their financing. And I wish I had that when I was younger. So a little bit, I guess, more about me aside from work and that other stuff. But grew up in Waverley. My dad owned his own businesses, never went to university. He had rental properties. I watched him how he created relationships and led his businesses and was really true to himself and his principles. So that drove me to go into business, but I didn't have a ton of knowledge about post-secondary education. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought I was going to be an athlete forever. So I didn't have a lot of, I guess, financial background, and I sure didn't have a plan. Oh, I want to be a doctor, dentist, for sure go into university in school. So I started my journey in the Valley. So at Acadia, I started studying kinesiology because I was an athlete. I thought that was going to be a really great fit. You're going to hear a little bit, my path hasn't been exactly straight. So I joined RBC in 2014 while I was in school, studying science because I needed money. I needed a job. I needed to pay for things while doing my schooling. So I then finished there during the pandemic. I was feeling antsy, and so I did my HR certificate, and that's when I decided to go do my business admin diploma at NSCC. And that was just such an amazing experience. I love NSCC, huge fan. I was able to apply what I've done at work in real life, smaller class sizes. I felt like I really fit in and thrived in that environment. So after that, it was such a great experience. I went and pursued my BBA, so the business administration program through Yorkville. I transferred all my credits, and I'm finishing up there in a few months, and then have applied to go to Dal to start my MBA in 2026. So like I mentioned, my path wasn't straight. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know a ton of people that went to university and had those experiences. So kind of shaped my own experiences, and I worked and made some money. And
well, that's not a bad thing to do along the way. And Rebecca, listening to your bio, we've definitely got a lot in common. I too was the first in my family to go to post-secondary, and I also started at university, then came to NSCC, and I worked in banking before making the switch to post-secondary too. So lots of transferable skills to financial literacy for sure for both of us.
Absolutely.
Do you see lots of students coming through the doors at RBC?
Every day. Every single day. I'd say like that's one of the largest populations that's growing, right? Our student population. And I think it's one that desperately needs financial advice. I couldn't imagine going back and doing it all over again. I know how much I didn't always feel prepared and didn't know what I was doing. It's scary and it's tough. Homes are expensive. Cost of living is
Yeah.
expensive. Going to university,
Yes.
everything's expensive. Trying to
Yeah.
make ends meet, and it's not easy.
Yeah, you have to be really strategic with all of your decisions and think
Hmm.
kind of long term now, even more than ever because of the economy.
Yeah.
So thinking back, Rebecca, to
Hmm.
when you did your program at NSCC, did you feel like you were prepared? Or if you didn't, like, is there anything you think now looking back that you could have done differently?
So NSCC, I was mid 20s at this point. So I did feel like I was a little bit more prepared. I had some work experience under my belt. But if I think back to maybe those just starting at NSC, maybe you're in your early 20s, at that point, I was not financially prepared at all. I was fortunate to have some support from my parents, but food, books, everyday expenses, like that was all on me. And I think as a young person, like it was tough trying to figure out where I'm going to get these expensive textbooks at. These online, learning resources were extra costs. I was uneducated financially. I didn't even know what student loans were, and that might sound silly when I was
Yeah.
just leaving high school, but I had no idea, and I didn't have the resources. No one spoke to me about it. So it meant I had to pick up a part-time job, and it was it was hard, a juggling act. When I was at NSCC, I was working full-time as a branch leader here. I worked a lot. You're working 37 plus hours a week, trying to balance classes, assignment, exams, playing sports, trying to squeeze in shifts, make sure you get everything done just to afford that grocery run, right?
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
it's tough. It's tough if I had to go back now and do it all over again.
Yeah, I had a similar experience, and now when I think back, I always wonder, like, how did I fit all of that in to my schedule? And
Had
there's
more
only
energy,
so many.
maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's part of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Rebecca.
Yeah. I wish, I think, like I maybe prepared myself more. If I could have started working earlier and saving more. I didn't think that far out, right? I was working the odd jobs to hang out with my friends or buy that Starbucks fancy drink. So maybe even
Yeah.
like budgeting in early, I'm kind of kicking myself now, but it worked out in the end, and I learned a ton on the way, but maybe made things more stressful than they had to be, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, like in that vein, I know you just talked about curbing your spending a little bit,
Hmm.
maybe saving a bit more. Are there any other tips, even, given your new experience with banking, about things students should really give some thoughtful consideration to?
I mean, even things as a student and now, like the power of small. So today I'm drinking Starbucks or Tim Hortons coffee, but sometimes I have that $10 Starbucks coffee, and
Yeah,
it adds up so quick, right? Like that $10 a day adds up $300, let's say a month. Close to $4,000 a year. I see people spending, how easy, think of it now, Matt, like spending $20 on lunch. Like that's a mezza meal. Like that's
yeah,
it adds up so quick. And then in a year, that's almost $5,000. So I think if I could go back in time, or even now, like I'm more conscious of tapping my phone less. Like those little things add up quickly. And when I was in university or in you're younger, like I was scared truly to reach out and attend those programs. At NSCC has tons of programs, workshops, free events, discounts where students can save money, right? And I
yeah,
was a little
yeah.
nervous to go and ask for help, but I think maybe that would be my advice, right? Like, don't be shy, ask questions. Yeah, I work in banking now. It's free to come and talk to, no matter what financial institution you go to. It can be intimidating and scary, but we're here to help you. And those at NSCC, your mentors, your advisors, they're all here to help you, and they want to see you succeed, right? So the earlier you start learning about money, budgeting, credit, small investments, I think it's going to lead to more success down the road and more comfort down the road. I'm sure you've seen all like those memes of compounding interest online, but
Mhm.
it can make such a difference, like starting early versus someone starting later, in the long run.
Absolutely. And you touched on such an important topic there too, around like just the hesitancy people have in talking about money. There can be a stigma, but
Hmm.
it's all none of us are experts, I don't think. I look at it as a continuum where you're always kind of learning as you go.
Yeah.
So there are so many folks and opportunities to really talk about it and compare notes and
Hmm.
knowing that we all stand to learn something from one another
Yeah.
along the way. So yeah, even places like a bank, free to ask questions. I love that
Hmm.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be daunting and scary, but just ask.
Yeah, exactly. Can I ask you a personal question? Do you budget? Like, if you do, like, do you have any tools that you use that you'd recommend or?
Yeah, absolutely. So I absolutely budget, or else the Amazon delivery truck would be outside of my house every single day,
Yeah, I hear
dropping
you.
dropping something off. My partner would say, "Not another box." So between like family life or home, another property, my whole life truly would be chaos without a plan. I'm not fancy. I'm old fashioned, where sometimes I use just pen and paper, but my go-to is Excel. So it's pretty basic compared to some of the newer tools out there. There's tons of student budget calculators and worksheets. So I'd highly recommend looking at those. Your financial institutions also typically have financial like a student section where you can get some student tools. But me personally, we use Excel and we set up like our monthly expenses. We track what's coming in, what's going out, and then we layer on smaller goals. So at the end of the day, for us, we want to see what's coming in and what's leaving our bank accounts and have a budget for all those taxes, more taxes, our small trips, emergencies, our future, if it's a larger home, a down payment. And I think when we first started, it was truly overwhelming, Matt. Like we went back
Yeah.
through our statements and I was like, oh my gosh, look at this money leaving. Like, what is this subscription? And then we both had the same subscription. And it was just, you were
Yes.
bleeding in money a little bit
Yeah.
like everywhere. I was like, why did we both have Netflix accounts? Like, this makes no sense. Oh, I didn't know I had this account. And feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to save $40,000 to more for a down payment. Like that is scary, especially for a younger person. So I'd say focus. Well, I know one thing that we do is focus like a little bit at a time. So we set aside, okay, we want to go on maybe 2 trips this year. So let's put a little bit aside, or emergency savings is really important. If you have animals, something comes up with your car, you never know, having a little bit of a buffer so you don't have to put it on a credit card with 20% interest. That's the biggest thing that works with us, smaller chunks, and it makes it feel less scary and more manageable. And we're more motivated at the end of the day to save. So starting somewhere small is our biggest thing, and just getting in and doing it, even if it's a piece of paper, Excel document, just again, start somewhere.
Great tip. You're a wealth of great information, Rebecca. So thankful to have you having this discussion with me. Before we go, any last little tidbits, thinking about avoiding challenges?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest thing, Matt, that I see in the bank is folks being reactive versus proactive. So
Yeah.
I would say if I could leave folks with something today is don't wait until you're so stressed out or you're maxed out on your student credit cards before you pay attention to your money. Even if you're working with like a little bit of money, savings, $5 a week, whatever you have, like starting those habits now are so important. So I guess it's more than one tip I would leave you with. It's come and see us or talk to someone before you're really stressed out or really maxed out. The other one is start with small habits early on. I think it's going to set you up for success and leave you less stressed in the future. And then third, like what we talked about, try to track what you spend, plan ahead for those bigger expenses. If you want to go on your March break trip at school, or try to save for those things, find a way to cut costs. I know a lot of programs at school has used books. You can buy them virtually. And cooking at home has been something I know personally we've been trying to do more to save money. And yeah, thank you so much for having me, Matt. And just say money doesn't have to be scary. Just remember that. It's just building habits, making small choices, and over time, I hope everyone can be super successful.
That's a great note to end on, Rebecca. I want to really thank you for all the valuable information you provided today and for stopping by the podcast. And hopefully, we'll maybe be able to chat again sometime.
Love to. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to Money Matters with Matt. I hope you learned something new. If you've got an idea for a topic for a future episode, drop us an email at awards@nscc.ca. You can also send us a question there and we will answer it in a future episode. Any resources or links that we discussed during this episode are available in the show notes. Thanks. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Money Matters, an NSCC financial literacy podcast. Make sure to subscribe to NSCC's YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. Until next time.